It was a quiet night, colder than usual for early autumn. The wind carried a damp chill, and the sky was overcast, blotting out any moonlight. Mark had been restless all day, his mind weighed down by the monotony of his routine. He decided a late-night drive might help clear his head. Living on the outskirts of a small town, he often took these long drives through the rural backroads. Tonight felt no different. He grabbed his jacket, his keys, and a bottle of water before heading out. The roads were empty, lined with dark trees that bent slightly under the wind. The rhythmic hum of his car engine was the only sound accompanying him. He turned on the radio, but the signal crackled with static, so he switched it off, embracing the silence. After about 20 minutes of driving, he saw something strange ahead. Two figures standing on the side of the road, barely illuminated by his headlights. They weren't waving for help, nor did they seem to be hitchhiking, just standing there. As he got closer, his stomach tightened. They were wearing old-fashioned clothes, like something out of the 1950s. A man and a woman, both in their late 30s or early 40s, stood side by side, their faces pale, almost waxy. The man had his hands in his pockets, and the woman clasped hers in front of her. They didn't move as he drove past. Their heads turned slowly to follow the car, but their bodies remained still. Mark felt a chill run down his spine. He checked his rearview mirror and saw them still standing there, watching him disappear into the darkness. Trying to shake off the unease, he continued down the road. After a few more miles, he saw something that made his heart pound. Ahead, another pair of figures stood at the roadside. It was the same man and woman. He slammed on the brakes, his breath catching in his throat. That was impossible. There were no turn-offs, no side roads where they could have cut across. It was as if they had just appeared. Mark's fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He took a deep breath and pressed his foot down on the gas, speeding past them. Once again, their heads turned, watching him as he passed. He didn't stop. He didn't slow down. The road twisted and turned, leading him deeper into the woods. He could feel his pulse in his ears, his body tense with unease. The next town was only about 15 miles away, if he could just make it there. Then his headlights flickered. A split second of darkness, then light again. His stomach dropped. As the road curved, the trees parted to reveal a small rest stop, a single gas station with an old convenience store. It was still open, the fluorescent lights inside casting a dull glow onto the pavement. Mark didn't think twice. He pulled in and parked near the entrance. Stepping out, he felt an overwhelming sense of relief. There were people inside, a cashier and a couple of customers. Safety in numbers. He walked in, the bell above the door chiming softly. The man behind the counter gave him a nod as he entered. "Long drive?" the cashier asked. "Yeah," Mark said, rubbing his hands together. "Needed a break." "Smart," the cashier replied. "Not a good night to be on the road." Mark hesitated. "Why do you say that?" The cashier gave him a strange look. "Storm's rolling in. Lots of people have been stopping in tonight, saying they saw something weird out there." Mark's skin prickled. "What kind of weird?" "Some folks say they've seen people standing on the roadside, always the same two. A man and a woman." Mark felt his stomach twist. "You've heard that before?" The cashier nodded. "Yeah, been hearing that story for years." Mark's throat went dry. He turned to glance out the window. The road was empty, but the air felt heavy, expectant. "Some say it's a warning," the cashier continued. "A sign that you shouldn't keep going. Others say if you see them more than twice in one night, you don't make it to where you're going." Mark turned back slowly, his heart pounding. "What do you mean?" The cashier shrugged. "They say those who ignore the warning end up in an accident, disappear, never make it to the next town." Mark felt cold all over. He had seen them twice. He swallowed hard. What if you just stay here for the night? The cashier's expression turned grim. That's probably the best thing you can do. Mark didn't argue. He bought a coffee, found a booth in the back of the store, and decided to wait out the night. He wouldn't risk seeing them a third time. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows. He kept his eyes on the glass, watching the road. But no one came. No headlights, no cars, just the empty, endless stretch of asphalt disappearing into the dark. He never saw the figures again. But he also never took that road at night again.